last year at Worlds, where Haunter and Biofrost definitely struggled compared to how they played here. I think that nerves and getting that experience can be pretty important.
Absolutely can be, and we'll see how the experience translates into this game, as Counterlogic Gaming are in that very tight race for actually making a playoff spot in general. They're still holding on to it for now, but do need to pick up wins over time as other teams are hot on their heels. Final ban comes through as Shen, the first pick. Lulu right away. Counterlogic Gaming grabbing this very versatile support.
Yeah, Lulu has really been skyrocketing in priority. A lot of teams have been banning it out almost every game. When it's not banned out in the series yesterday, it was actually picked up right away. So Lulu has been very, very popular, and it makes quite a bit of sense. I think it has pretty strong laning. It matches up well against a lot of the meta supports, and also against assassins. I think that Whimsy is super underrated. Just that polymorph on an assassin diving in, which is so popular right now, can be extra powerful.
And of course, we saw CLG fall to the Lulu Rengar comp yesterday, and game 1 they lost to it, and game 2 they let it go through again. And maybe this time around CLG wants to play that themselves, as the Graves has been locked in for Cloud9. So the Rengar, if Xmithie wants to play it, though it hasn't looked good,
no,
you have the comp for it.
And that's the thing, is pretty much everyone is leaving Rengar up against CLG these days, because Xmithie has yet to show that he really can do very, very well on this champion. And I mean, he may go back to it, but it does not look good. I think that grabbing Graves and Ezreal, two super versatile picks here. Ezreal is really skyrocketing in priority with some of the nerfs that these other marksmen have taken.
Sure.
It's extremely strong as far as just being able to play lane multiple ways. You can play aggressively with poke, you can play defensively farming under your turret, and he scales really well into the later stages of the game.
Definitely can. And so meanwhile, we're going to look at CLG looking for their options. Caitlyn, Lulu, definitely a very strong duo. And the Caitlyn will be locked in. So CLG insta-picking their duo lane. And it is going to be another game with Jhin unpicked.
And when you look at CLG, for Caitlyn, for them in particular, Stixxay, I think this has been his best champion over the past quite a while. He's been so good on the Caitlyn. Not that he's not excellent on other marksmen as well, but I mean, when you look to MSI, a lot of his highest highs have been on this champion.
And it's interesting. We know that, like, for example,
Rengar.
champion. Yeah, okay, so the Rengar does come through. No huge surprise, and Karma going to round it out. So going to be mirrored roles just like before. Both bot lanes and junglers grabbed on both sides. And it's, yeah, damage-focused marksman with enchanter supports. And I mean, those are the two premier junglers right here, of course, the Rengar and the Graves.
And I think there's just going to be a lot of pressure on Xmithie to perform, not only because he's on the Rengar, which he's been heavily criticized for, but just in general, Xmithie has not looked good this split compared to his past form. He always had been that super consistent guy that people are like, oh, he's so underrated. And this year, I think he has been consistently CLG's weakest player.
Yes, I would agree with that. And everyone else has been, to some degrees, hit and miss, but being the players who've been hit and miss, Darshan actually had been doing a bit better on the carries. The Fiora banned away by Cloud9. Don't want to let him play that.
Yeah, especially when it's not something that we ever really have seen Impact playing. May as well take away this target ban, do that very easily there. Still, there are some tanky options, but there's been a lot of top lane focused in this draft, and I'm interested to see where these guys are going to go, because with most of the premier tanks taken off the table, besides Maokai, which still could be banned out, who admittedly has a much weaker laning phase, you're kind of getting pushed down a lot further. Camille, Rumble, those are super popular. Most of the premier tanks are already taken away. Where do they go from here?
Yeah, Renekton's up there as a popular one. Maokai's probably a bit weak for my liking. Jace is still up. It's interesting, because I cast a CLG set yesterday as well. Jace seemed very low priority in those games, that he was played sometimes, but was never really picked up as a ban, despite being super popular in pro play. Final ban comes through as Syndra, another mid lane ban, but not the Jace.
And we haven't really been seeing Jace talk nearly as much in the NALCS. It had been a trend for quite a while in the earlier half of the split and really fallen out of favor. People have been moving it more towards playing mid lane Jace with Rumble top or a tank top type thing. Maokai obviously still very serviceable. His laning phase is quite weak, so if CLG wants to go for something like the Renekton, they should have a pretty heavy early advantage. That said, as Maokai gets to later stages of the game, still a huge force.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. Once you're into the late game, it doesn't really matter anymore for Maokai, but I know the nerfs did hit him quite a bit. I think actually there's better tanks right now, like Sion, I think is just a stronger champion in a lot of respects, but right now, not one that many people play right now. MVP, kind of the only team that plays Sion top. But
that's a big thing, right? It's Maokai is something that is very easy to play. Yeah. Everyone has massive amounts of practice on it. So even if it is weaker than another champion like Sion, if you don't have the practice on it, it doesn't actually make up the difference in champion power.
Oh, of course, yeah. You always got to multiply the power by your familiarity with it. And the Maokai is still going to be picked up for Cloud9 here in the top lane.
Another pick that I'd be excited to see more of is Kled, right? We've seen Zig have a lot of success on it. I think it's very powerful. Trundle, another one, matches up extremely well against tanks. I think it suits Darshan's style pretty well because he does like to be able to go to the split push, but he also, even on those split pushers like Fiora, often is roaming, looking to team fight, and I think Trundle is a pretty solid mix of that. Should be a heavy lane advantage for him. And I also think that, honestly, Trundle can escape ganks from the Graves a lot more easily than many other champions, simply because if you actually use your pillar well, you can actually pillar the Graves out of his quick draw, and pushing him back, he's massively slowed. You can oftentimes just kind of run out.
Absolutely. Interesting to see here, actually. Rise going to go through picks and bans uncontested at all. Ekko is going to be the mid laner instead. So, is interesting that, based on just generic pick rate tier list kind of things, a lot of the top tier did go uncontested here in the pick and ban, Jhin and Rise being the two primary ones, but Ekko going to round out the comp as an assassin in the mid lane for C9.
And I think one thing that is pretty cool about the Ekko pick here is C9 is essentially saying, yes, we know Maokai cannot match up against the Trundle in the late game. Well, guess who maybe can, right? This is Ekko, who can actually be a split push answer to the Trundle, right? The Trundle cannot just build only MR and only for that 1v1 matchup, whereas Ekko can essentially just build pure damage, match up very well against the Trundle. It makes his ultimate less effective, and in the late game stages, you can actually have that as an answer.
Right, and thankfully C9 have two good high damage marksmen in the jungle Graves and the bot lane Ezreal, so a good mix of damage types, a good amount of threats, and Darshan, we'll see how his 1v1s actually go. Jensen is looking like he's bringing teleport into this game, so right, very obviously he wants to be in the split push. Orianna, of course, worse at that. Caitlyn as well.
And I also
1-3-1 better for C9.
This plays well to C9's strengths because they have not been a dominant early game team. They are a macro-focused team. Jensen is fantastic on the split pushers. Impact as well has had such great lane control in his side waves that this gives C9 big advantages, I think, going into the later stages of the game.
And we'll see if C9's macro is going to stay sharp, if they're going to keep this one going. Of course, we are ready to go into game one. Trundle in the top lane for Darshan. CLG going back to a more split-pushed focused top lane, which has been better for them. Back on Darshan's old style of hopping off the tanks, going more for the fighters. But yeah, Cloud9 having a 1-3-1, having double teleport, really going to break the map open.
And the team fighting for CLG will be pretty frightening, though. And another thing to keep in mind is Rengar can go for those kind of side lane assassinations if it does end up in a split push. But we have Rengar, Ori, Lulu, powerful combos there. The Maokai, even if you get to late game, can get shredded by this Trundle ultimate, making him more easily killable for Caitlyn and Ori.
Yep, totally agree. So going to be a fun one to watch. We are into game one here. Cloud9 sitting in first place, the North American LCS. And the question is, how well can you tune up in time for playoffs? Because they are guaranteed to be in that playoff run no matter what. Counter Logic Gaming still amidst a tight race. Of course, Cloud9 is a very tough opponent, but CLG have won North America before. If they can get back to that form, that'd be great for them.
And it feels like everyone outside of that top three, it's pretty up in the air. You know, it's certainly CLG is not out of the running by any means, but they're not safe either. And pretty much everyone from FlyQuest down to, it feels like, almost the bottom of the table could be contesting for those playoff spots.
Yeah, honestly, mathematically, there's a lot of options open.
Run, Darshan!
Runs away from the fearsome kitty cat. As Darshan knows. Keep away from all that. Maybe he's allergic. You know, that might be the problem, actually.
That is a serious problem, you know, if you are allergic to those cats.
Yep, I am, sadly.
Oh, that is unlucky.
Yeah, well, I don't like them anyway. It's fine. Maybe it's why I don't like cats.
There you go.
Yep, we've got a game on hand. I don't want to sidetrack too much with the cat hate. Smoothie going to get some help right there. The quick Q over the wall, and it's interesting that he's letting his dual lane just not bother with the leash, but instead deal with the landing phase early on. Of course,
well,
both these damage-focused marksmen.
Leashing the Raptors as the bottom lane can be pretty rough. Generally speaking, the solos can help out with that more. But one of the advantages of being red side with this start is Maokai can very easily leash with a sapling, plus the Ekko very easily leashes there. It's actually a lot more common to get more help on the red side as a start there.
Yep, definitely the case. And missed one, unlucky. He tried to have picks last at them for him, and he attacked one and had picks at the other, but not quite the damage either way. Small minion lead for C9, and level 2 might just come in first for the Caitlyn, actually. Headshot doing a lot of extra damage. Jensen getting the early trade on a Huhi. Cannot quite trigger the passive. Nice juke on the Q. Jensen actually whiffs an auto. But the back half of time, Wine actually gets the damage off anyway.
And Xmithie has done kind of a little bit of a wrap-up up to top side. This may be to try to protect Darshan a little bit as he is going to be pushing in. We'll see if he is going to make his way up there. At least we'll be taking down the scuttle. And if you even just get down the scuttle and lay a trinket ward, that can give Darshan a lot more of an ability to kind of push in this lane and try to pressure them.
Absolutely the case. So Xmithie, see if he does anything for this top side right here. Just the early trinket ward. I like this. This is what I kind of consider like a planned jungle route, where he's like, yeah, you're gonna clear the scuttle, you're gonna give him a trinket ward. Darshan, you're allowed to play very aggressively because none of the flanking gank paths are open to Contractz here. I do like how that's set up. CLG's always been a team that's been very smart about like hard planning the first like 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Their level 1s, I think, have been traditionally the best in the league.
Agreed.
I think that a lot of their jungle pathing and stuff is very, very smart. This year has been more about once that pre-planned time is over, how are your decisions going to actually pan out? And that is where Xmithie has been found lacking a little bit. We'll see if he can make up for that today.
Good juke in the queue by Stixxay, but of course C9 still holding the push lead, still has that 1 minute advantage. Sneaky's only missed 1 minion so far in this lane. Stixxay's only missed 2, so good marks so far for those players. Jensen, early TP for the full item start here. Corrupting Potion, Dark Seal in the boots.
And one of the nicest things about Ekko in the mid lane is you have such fantastic push with your Time Winders. You just spam out all your mana at the start. You get the push, so your opponent cannot actually match a base with you without losing a wave. Then you buy, you immediately TP back, you're back to full mana, and you continue to push.
Ooh, speaking of pushing, Contractz into Xmithie's jungle and pushing him right back out. Thunderlord's triggers Xmithie down to 1/3, 2/3 rather, even after the battle roar.
And that alone, you know, Ekko getting the push is what allows Contractz to move in here. Because how can Huhi come help? He's low on mana, he'll miss out on all these minions. So that advantage starts to bleed over into the jungle. And that is why getting the push is so big there. And it's why laning against Ekko can be so frustrating.
And what's amazing is this isn't an accident either. I'm hoping they're not fighting in the bot lane so I can talk about this. Aphromoo chunked a little bit low. He'll stay alive. But so much came together there. So they know it's a Raptor start. So they know when the Raptors respawn. Jensen TPs and gets new items in time, so he's like, okay, I'm here for the Raptor take when you're ready. They all show up on the spawn. Nice stun on a Huhi, nice little trade by Jensen. Easily wins that fight, of course, and a lot of that is partially pre-planned as well. You can both come together, no problem.
And now, because of this TP advantage, Huhi has to base at a time where he's going to miss most of a wave. Sure, Xmithie can cover, but then you're giving away your jungle positioning. You're losing out on that XP. So Ekko can get really nice advantages simply through this push, and we'll see how many minions are going to be missed. It's going to be at least the full wave. Xmithie probably will come over and get some of the XP.
Yeah, he's trying to reach XP on that while still playing the Wolves out, so at least he gets kind of the best of both worlds. I don't believe he's even seen right now.
Ooh, nice.
And now he's going to show.
CLG, at least for them, are taking some kind of trade advantages down in the bot lane to even things out a little bit. But Huhi, you know, it does become somewhat problematic if you start to fall too far behind, especially in the experience.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Jensen should easily hit level 6 first. He's going to walk back to lane once again. Of course, choosing to match the recall that Huhi had. Just has to add another Doran's Ring. Not a exciting item buy, but I think still worth doing. You don't want to, again, have no items in the lane.
It's already emphasizing his strengths, but you have an early advantage. He's putting more gold into these early item buys that are going to give him even more lane power for him, hopefully, emphasize that lane advantage. And Jensen traditionally has been the toughest person to lane against in the mid lane statistically in the NALCS. And even while getting a lot of enemy jungle attention, Contractz doesn't help him as much as you would think.
Yeah, just a couple of smart plays like the Raptor steal, which is actually more like Jensen helping out Contractz. And Impact, you push down into the turret. Nice little ulti from Darshan. Of course, the trade of R buttons. But Darshan actually having a pretty good way with this one. Look at the minion difference, plus 14, 15 right now.
Xmithie is coming up. They're actually trying to set up a dive here.
Impact
this would be risky, though. Xmithie is 5, and Impact's probably just going to back off.
Darshan's low on mana, but it's enough to make Impact lose XP and gold. Didn't feel comfortable actually going for the tower defense, and that's going to be just half a level of XP lost.
Exactly, and he's going to miss most of the next wave as well, since Xmithie delays that back. So that is very big play actually here for Darshan, who already had been establishing a pretty big advantage for himself. So that just the pressure from Xmithie, even though they didn't attempt to dive, was massive. We'll see if Contractz can get anything back on the bot side, though. He's 6, and he is going in behind CLG's bot lane.
Flanking through. Here comes the trade in, but a nice net puts Sneaky at half, and that's going to be... it's going to stop him from doing much more. Contractz was hoping there'd be a fight. Instead, he'll just get away for now.
Oh, wow. He's actually just going to go straight over to the red. So we'll see if Xmithie is anticipating this and trying to trade off, but Xmithie is still not 6. He is around here. And they should know now, I think, if Jensen goes off to the right side, that they've probably lost their red buff, and Smoothie is going for the trade already.
Yeah, very smart by him. You always got to give credit to junglers, too, with what I don't believe to be any information at all. Says, you know what, he's doing this would be the right play. And if Smoothie gets to blind evade in the jungle and keep it equal, this is hard to do sometimes. Now, it's thankful for him that Darshan's winning the lane, so he's got the pressure there and support from the top side. But
and despite the red trade, you know, not really equal, because Contractz has taken away more. He's a full level up. You know, he's taken quite a few camps away. So Xmithie, he's going to have to hope that the time he spent for Darshan pays off, right? Because he sacrificed some of his own power for that.
And it's interesting, actually. You can look at the gold, it's equal, and it is very sort of stratified leads. Darshan is very far ahead of Impact right now, but Contractz and Jensen have equalized that lead on themselves on their own farm right here. And so it's kind of like a 2v1 in terms of who's winning right now. It's Contractz and Jensen really getting a lot done. But CLG's comp is about Darshan winning a split push. So
ooh, Aphromoo might be going to get caught out here.
Juke's part of the slow. Could get rid of. He's going to flash it. He's not going to. There we go. Very, very late onto it. But now the flash chase is there. Aphro gets the knock up with the ulti. Contractz doesn't have the damage to kill. And Aphro does get away with a trade of summoners.
It doesn't actually use his exhaust there. Pretty risky business for Aphro, but does stay alive. And this is pretty critical because 9 minutes in, first blood has still not been given up. So that first kill can mean a lot, especially when the other jungler's already a lot ahead. As Smith, you definitely don't want to see Contractz picking up that first blood.
Definitely not. He's already ahead. You don't want to get.
Oh, here they go top side.
Top lane play. Darshan has turret aggro. He packed on a flash for buying some time, but look at that. The filler is there. First kill picked up. Jensen TP won't do anything. He's going to force to cancel. Nicely done, Counter Logic Gaming. The top focus does pay off.
Bot side, though, they are attacking that turret. It's getting quite low here. We'll see who is going to win the turret race. It should be CLG, I think, with this next mini wave coming in. That grabs it.
Yeah, it's close. I do think CLG is going to end up getting it here. Watching it down 9 minutes, 30 seconds in.
They're pretty confident that they're going to get it. I mean, they even backed off Xmithie. If they don't get it first, that would be a pretty bad mistake.
Did it just not call that bot lane's going down? How do you do this wrong? That is a huge mistake.
That was...
Xmithie gives away 300 gold to Cloud9.
I mean, that's essentially just giving away a free kill, right?
Yeah.
That he just did there. By backing off, he actually makes it so Darshan doesn't get the first turret. And yes, he wanted to give the solo gold over, but they would have gotten more solo gold and the shared gold from getting that. So that is really poorly done from CLG. I'm not sure if that was a breakdown in communication or what.
I don't know, but that was obviously a huge mistake, and it means that Cloud9 are feeling pretty good about this with getting the first turret gold. Mountain Drake to pick up as well is icing on the cake, and though Cloud9 are slightly down in gold, they are feeling pretty good about this game, I feel like. CLG, though, still going to be about Darshan, as now the rest of the lanes are just objectively behind in gold.
Yeah, they really are. And Darshan, he's going to get even more help. You can see that the vision has been set up around here, top side. Smithie's already moving back up. Impact has no turret, and he has no flash. He's likely going down.
Got the ult. He's going to jump forward, but he's going to hope that there's a teammate coming around, and it's not going to be for a while. Contractz is heading over this way, but a nice root by Xmithie. The damage should still be there. Nice kill picked up. Darshan, actually, the kill credit yet again. 2-0 Trundle is a big deal.
And where is Contractz in all this? I mean, he is getting some counter jungling down, but he needs to help protect Impact at this point so this top lane does not spiral out of control. Even if you can't be there for the gank, get some vision down. You know, he has the warding jungle enchant, so he needs to be able to help protect his top laner and actually keep him relevant. Because if Darshan gets too far ahead, there's going to be almost nothing Impact can do in the lane.
Well, I definitely agree. It's going to be difficult, but again, we point to the fact that Cloud9 are winning in gold in literally the 4 other roles in this game right now. So it's Darshan versus the world. Maybe slightly overstated, but hyperbole still aside, it is where the gold leads lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear to see where the emphasis has been put from CLG, right? They are very clearly showing what their game plan is here. And they're now going to have Darshan execute on it, right? You can't spend all this time getting Darshan ahead and then not have him knocking down turrets, not have him being a menace in that side lane, because the time spent elsewhere for C9 will end up being worth more. And remember, Aphro has no flash.
He's got no way out of this one. Going to land a slow. He's going to get the re-engage from Xmithie, but the knockup's there. Looking for a bit more damage. He's got to run away.
From Darshan, he is behind.
Ooh,
looking for the flank.
Well, the two of them stay alive from CLG, and now Darshan is on this flank. Looks to slow into Contractz, but keep in mind, 2 of them are at 100 HP. They can't get much more for the fight, and a nice arcane shift by Sneak. He gets away from the shockwave. Nice attempt by CLG. A close call, but no kills.
Yeah, very close on both sides. Darshan needs to get back to top side now to make sure he's keeping this CS advantage and keeping that XP advantage. But Impact will have his teleport, and C9 can play strong on the bot side because of that. They will have the numbers advantage in those fights. And CLG's got to show some respect.
They have to show respect, but the thankful thing for CLG is there's no Drake and no bot lane out for it to kill, so it's just harder to use the TP advantage. Not that C9 can't do it, it's just a bit more difficult. Red buff's still going to come through after it resets.
It's mainly things like this, right? You cannot contest for this red buff. You have to accept that that is gone. You have to play to your strong side. Even if it is technically your side of the map, it's not anymore.
6 HP, close one by Stixxay. Gets the smite out of Contractz to be sure, but so far Contractz so good. 2-0 in this game, and I feel like I keep talking about CLG, but I do want to talk about Xmithie because this is 3 games in a row he's gotten CLG to start 2-0, or he's been some form of 2-0 in his own scoreline. First Blood, I believe, 3 games in a row, and the second follow-up as well. So Xmithie has been getting his ganks off. I would say Contractz is otherwise out-jungling him farm and buff-wise, but for as much as we were talking about Xmithie being one of the weaker members, he has gotten some good ganks off.
Oh, Smoothie about to check into this.
Looking for the third, 3-0 CLG. It might just be the pillars there, and Darshan. He's got the third kill, looking for the fourth. Running out of HP pretty rapidly, though. Takes turret aggro, and why do you keep chasing that? I guess because Impact is behind, and C9 now getting the turnaround here. Impact, as soon as his spells drop, good on that will be a kill. The root's going to be up in a second, you've got to imagine, and that's going to be the secure. Almost certainly, they're going to give it over to Jensen with the proto belt. Nice coordination there by Cloud9, and they get the game back with an 800 gold.
I mean, you talked about it. CLG gets out to these good starts, and then they often overreach, right? And that is one of the things that a lot of people criticize Darshan for, is that he does sometimes get greedy for this. They take the kill onto Smoothie, but they want more. They don't know where the rest of the members are. And once you're chasing in here, I think that Darshan at this point, he's committed. He needs to go for it because he's going to die even if he runs. But I think the fact of the matter is, they should have just taken the 1 kill and backed off.
Yeah, most likely the case. Unfortunate there. Of course, a great collapse by Cloud9. Jensen, who's just perennially had lane priority, able to get the roam off and get 300 gold on himself.
Yeah, donating that kill over, very smart from Impact. It was a guaranteed kill. Get it on your split pusher, especially because so much gold has been funneled into Darshan. You want to make sure that Jensen can match up in that side lane if he has to.
Right, there we go. Turret goes down 2-2 now the score line. As bot lane outer was killed off by CLG not that long ago. Cloud9 put their own dual lane on the other side of the map and equalize that score here.
Very close game.
Yeah, still a 700 gold deficit. It's interesting that that lead is all pretty much in Darshan's pockets, but CLG are holding the gold lead and maybe doing it better than we might have expected. Huhi's also equalized the farm lead, and some of that was Jensen roaming around, but props to Huhi for recovering off a very bad early game and a very rough start.
CLG, I mean, have put themselves in a pretty good position. C9 playing it patient, though, and where I think their strengths lie is more in this stage of the game. Kind of from here on out, they have really been able to outplay teams as far as map movement, team coordination, and that is where I think a lot of their strength has been this season. So we'll see if CLG in these next 10-15 minutes can actually keep up with them.
See what they can do at Impact. Just going to lick his wounds down a level, and this is so hard to deal with, of course. Yeah. You can't really blame Impact, or even blame Contractz that much. Some of this is just very difficult to deal with overall. He tried to run everybody could, but look at that, the damage on a Smoothie! Face checked into some wards, a great kill. Another one picked up now for Xmithie. CLG taking over some of the map.
Xmithie is actually having, I think, the best start, at least, to a Rengar game I have seen from him.
Yeah,
he is looking pretty solid, moving around the map well. CLG looking to start up this dragon. We'll see if C9 wants anything to do with it, but it looks like it's going to be theirs as Contractz is trying to go for Darshan.
Darshan's got TP backup anyway, so they know they could have matched the play. Darshan, nice pillar, but a nice jump over the wall for Contractz. Gets away with it. Mountain Drake picked up, nicely done. And yeah, Counter Electric Gang make the play happen to keep that 1,000 gold lead, and now they've tied up the Drake score.
I think pretty soon here we're going to see Jensen moving over to the side lanes, and I think that is where C9 can start to look to get some advantages because, you know, if it's not Darshan matching up against him, it's going to be pretty tough for anyone else to farm down there safely against this Proto Belt Ekko, and now that he has his Sheen complete, he can be unlocked in the split push pretty well here too.
Interesting choice by Sneaky, actually. Ninja Tabby very early on Ezreal. I personally feel like that's a bit safe. I was going to say over-aggressive. That's the opposite of what I'm saying, though. I don't think he's really going to die to a Rengar that easily. I feel like Ezreal's reasonably safe. He's got a Karma on his team. That seems a little bit afraid.
Tabbies are very efficient, but I do feel like people are starting to underestimate how powerful the CDR of Lucidity is, as well as the Summoner's Spell cooldown reduction. That also helps you stack your tier faster. You know, I think there's a lot of synergy in CDR with Ezreal's kit, because your Q's up more often, which reduces the cooldown of your ult, etc., etc. Kind of snowballs.
And part of the reason that Ninja Tabby's even good at all is
lethality.
Lethality, which is flat armor penetration. And the more lethality they have, the better armor is. Well, you're against, at best, a Black Cleaver and like a Trundle ulti, which are percent shreds, which actually hurt the value of Ninja Tabby. So, again, I find it a little bit confusing. Maybe we'll see it happen and it's going to be worthwhile later on in the game, but right now it feels much too risk-averse.
So the biggest argument I have for it is it's one of those things where Sneaky is basically saying, I don't need to do the maximum amount of damage. As long as I don't get burst down, we'll win.
Well, Contractz picks up the red buff, now to satchel over the wall is going to keep him pretty safe. Nice invade by Cloud9, and it's the team with the gold deficit still making plays. Impact still 1v1ing Darshan, and he's surviving a very rough matchup. He's remaining -20, which is pretty good for how that start went.
Yeah, he is surviving. His ultimate was expended there, and Darshan didn't use his. That's the key ability to be used. So if Impact stays too far up in this lane, he can sometimes get chased down by Aphro.
Solo kill from Jensen. Aphro even burned flash, didn't get to ult. And why do you not exhaust the assassin that solo kills you? So that probably a big mistake, but the kill credit still goes to Jensen. Good job by C9.
We'll have to see that one again. Jensen may have just caught him off guard. I mean, the amount of burst that can come out can be pretty surprising, and just goes down very quickly, I assume, here to the third proc. Yeah.
If you're willing to flash, you should be willing to exhaust.
I agree.
And I know at a certain point he dropped vision because he walked out of the brush, but an Ekko jumped you. Just exhaust the guy.
Yeah. And that can sometimes be a thing where you're looking elsewhere on the map, right? You're trying to do something else. Either way, a mistake there from Aphromoo. Jensen picks up a nice kill for himself, and this is going to be that threat of the Ekko. We talked about how once he's in the side lanes, it's very hard for people to match up against him. If you ever lose track of where this guy is in your jungle, and C9 has done a great job getting some deep vision on this side of the jungle, he can very easily take people out like that.
They're going to take up the mid lane as well as Cloud9. Good damage down there. Red buff and Contractz helps as well, certainly. Mid lane turrets are the next ones to fall in general, and obviously a big damage lead for C9 in that respect. Game only 700 gold apart. It's been CLG holding the gold lead for most of it, but obviously this game is very close. Sad for the Trundle and the Maokai. No Rift Herald to grab this game. It has despawned already. Definitely would have helped Darshan in the 1v1, but doesn't get it here.
A little bit of an oopsie. Smoothie actually grabbed the blue on that handoff to Huhi, and Huhi's now, so.
He did that yesterday too. He actually screwed up one of the handoffs earlier when he was playing Graves.
Which may actually, I mean, in this case, it seems like C9 is backed off, so Huhi should be able to push out and get back in time, but in some situations, that can actually cost you a turret because your wave clear is now out of mana. So these little things can matter quite a bit.
Unlucky. Yeah, that's rough. Well, back to the holding pattern we go. Mid lane season, of course, is difficult. It's always smart to recall appropriately and keep yourself afloat. Jensen, 3 completed items, Merc Treads, and his 2 extra AP ratios with the Lich Bane and the Hextech Proto Belt.
And the Lich Bane is once again building more towards that split push.
Yeah.
Anytime you leave this guy alone, he will crush your turrets. The Proto Belt and the Lich Bane also very powerful in those 1v1s. If you can get that third hit off with your E, the amount of damage it does is sometimes so shocking because you get the Lich Bane proc. It often is proccing the actual third hit of your passive plus the E damage itself.
Yeah.
You can get hits that are insane amounts of burst.
Totally agree. Solid 20% CDR for Jensen. Wasn't running any CDR in Glyphs. And C9 now looking for the play on the mid lane. The Maokai also roaming down to the collapses here. Cloud9 want in on this one, and won't find him just yet. A nice bit of poke out from Huhi might stymie the push as Jensen's at 2/3.
This turret is quite low, but CLG does have good wave clear with the Ori, and the traps from Stixxay make it a lot harder to actually have a clean fight around there.
Yeah, they are only rank 4. He actually chose to finish maxing the Piltover Peacemaker, the Q, which is a little bit atypical for pro play. Again, you typically see the traps max after 3 to 4 points in Q, so not maxed yet. Not going to be a huge deal, to be honest, but means a little bit of something.
The vision game this game has been so nice from C9. They've been constantly in the enemy jungle. Look how many wards are down on this red side of CLG. Like that buff area is completely covered, and this is allowing them the freedom to push in there, constantly contest for camps, take away little edges, get experience, get gold, and even unlock Jensen.
Oh, absolutely agree. And little edges have been kind of the name of the game for Cloud9. If you look at Contractz specifically, where yeah, Xmithie's getting more ganks off, and there's more kills on CLG, and yet here's C9 tying the gold, right, with first turret gold. They lost first blood, doesn't matter. They took more camps away, and you know, they're just edging their way up in this game so far. Looking for, again, a little bit of poke on a Stixxay, and out goes Contractz.
And we talked about, you know, where the pressure was put for CLG. It was on Darshan. And has he really been able to get enough in this side lane? I mean, no one's answering Jensen right now. They have to start up the Dragon and get something, because Jensen is just taking a turret for free right now.
And top lane tier 2 for Mountain Drake number 2.
They may lose their mid lane turret as well.
Yeah, mid lane out are going to be taking a lot of damage. Jensen is going to finish the solo kill on that turret. 300 gold to him. Mid lane is going to stay alive. But it does mean that C9 can now play around the top side of the map a bit. Baron is up, and maybe they can get some wards around. Right now, CLG has vision. Looking for the flank. Smoothie can't get the shockwave to land on a Contractz. Able to quick draw out of the range of that one. Nearly could have been big, but no flash force or anything there.
Was close. I feel like Darshan needs to stay in the side waves a little bit more, be picking up this farm, continuing to build an advantage, because the farm gap is closing actually between Impact and Darshan, and partly it's because Darshan is worried that Impact is going to go for an engage and he keeps having to walk back up, but that's not where the power is on this champion. You need to be in a side lane creating pressure.
Yeah, he had pulled down to go for the Drake, but you're right, it gave away a lot of that pressure. That extra turret pickup puts C9 in the gold lead by 1,000, and it's debatable which one's better. I think it's close. A second Mountain Drake and a 2-2 turret. I think it's comparable in some respects. We'll see what else can happen here as C9 is continuing that mid lane siege. Rengar up for the engage. But there's no shockwave up, so there's not that much C9 has to be afraid of. They know it was burned on that earlier chase towards Contractz. And Rengar ult's not going to turn into much of anything.
Yeah, this turret's going to go down. I think Stixxay getting poked out there. He's backing off. This is a 1 auto turret. C9 good to step forward.
There it is, knocked down 4 turrets to 2, Cloud9. They get into mid game, they get into that 1-3-1. Jensen solo kills a split turret, and they get the mid lane siege after all. Some of that actually from Jensen's landing phase prowess from earlier on. I feel like he's actually been hugely important for Cena making good things happen.
The untold story here too is just the farm that was actually lost in the top lane for CLG. Jensen pushed in multiple waves. Now a slow push has built up against CLG, so C9 is going to be able to collect all these minions that are building up in the top side. That's going to be a difference of around 3 to 4 waves of experience in gold, and that's something that no one from CLG is going to get.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes life a little bit difficult. CLG maybe starting to lose out on resources. We talked about it in the pregame, Azael, where C9, they seem to be the best after that maybe 15-20 minute mark. They start playing the mid game, and again, the comp speaks to it there. For as much as they can for Darshan, C9 are the better split pushers this game.
They manage their waves a lot better than their opponents, and I think CLG botched lane assignments a little bit by not having anyone get this. I mean, if you look in the top lane at the fat wave that's actually about to be picked up by Jensen, he's going to get so much experience. So not only did he deny multiple waves from his opponents, he now has all this gifted back to him. He's up top exactly at the right time to pick it up and get it pushing again. So he's able to create this pressure, maximize experience in gold, and that kind of just gives you an edge. Impact has not missed out on the side waves. CLG has. Yeah, and CLG's in a 4v3. Like, Jensen's just showing himself top lane. They're not taking away Eastern Jungle. They're not setting up wards for Darshan. They're not really winning the mid lane siege right now either. And again, there's 3 camps on the right side of the map that are up that CLG have the right to take by being 4v3 on this side. Nothing's happening. And I mean, no one is answering Jensen at all. So they have to make a move here. Jensen is going to be onto the inhibitor turret. I don't think you can dive this Maokai. The inhibitor turret is falling. No one from CLG has even backed. I don't understand what CLG is doing here. I mean, this is just a complete collapse of shot calling. They all just put post-it notes over the mini-maps like, what, a turret died? Who's top lane and where are you? It's like, I'm bot lane. They literally had about a full minute to respond to that play from when we called out Jensen picking up that big wave. Yeah. They had that entire time to decide who was going to go back and defend this. No one moved. Yeah. They feel like they're paralyzed. All right, well, next turret that goes down from Jensen, I'm play-by-playing the whole thing in hype voice because CLG clearly don't want to fight for anything, so it's Jensen versus Structures is how this game is going. Bob the Demolitionist, I guess, right here, Jensen. Not Bob the Builder. The evil Bob the Builder has had a terrible turn. Tragedy struck, and now he's destroying everything he's built. I mean, it's the world of Dark Medios and everything. It's Dark Bob the Builder, man. This is Jensen, man. He's even got his like hammer or whatever. I can get behind it. All right, I appreciate you supporting me on this one. And yeah, but you're right. It's CLG just like forgetting how to play League of Legends, which is so strange for. I think it's, what, 3 splits in a row now these 5 players have played together with the same coach. Like, and this has always been their strength. Right, and they just forgot how to play the macro game. Stixxay does get away. That's nice. Shockwave is big. They caught out Contractz, but it is not enough. He is tanky. He gets the flash away, and all is well. It feels to me like at this point CLG is tunneling too much on, okay, yeah, Trundle, you go beat up You go beat up Impact. Okay, well, we don't have anyone to match up against Ekko. Well, Trundle has to be the one to actually answer him now. And someone else has to go and answer Impact and push out those waves. But it's not really happening. And the double TP advantage is kind of coming through from C9 just through the minion pressure that they have. Once again, who's answering the bot wave? No one. Impact is actually having the more effective split push on Maokai right now compared to the Trundle. I mean, CLG now have to force, or they just lose a bot lane turret to the split push Maokai? Like, what is that?
Hoping the force to be with them, but it's not going to work too well. Darshan gets the ulti out before he gets bursted, but he's still running out of HP. Xmithie got a kite out as well. And in a 5v4, CLG somehow manages to lose the fight. And Impact hitting away on the turret, punched it with his Maokai sleeping bag arm, and it's running out of HP. That's going to be turret 6 for Cloud9. Woo! Team fights.
I don't know, man. I mean, they just don't seem to really have an answer. And in a game like this, it starts to feel a little bit inevitable if you're CLG, because if they're not willing to make a move and commit to a team fight or answer the split push, you do A or you do B. C is do neither, and that is what CLG has chose twice in a row.
Yeah, and it's lost. Now, the score was 2-2. The gold was tied. They were tied on Drakes, and now CLG have lost 4 turrets for nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing.
In what world should the Maokai, who got camped super hard, be the one taking more turrets in the last 15 minutes than the Trundle?
The world where CLG forgot how to shot call, apparently, because they have just not assigned their lanes appropriately. That's just...
It's a tough one.
And it doesn't make any sense. Like, CLG should not be the team with these mistakes. This is the team with the most, arguably the most shot calling experience, the most time together, absolutely, of any squad in North America, possibly the world or close to it. And nothing is going well for them. They are getting, in a very easy way, out-rotated by C9.
Either way, we do have to take a step back and realize that CLG are certainly not too far behind, and they do have a lot of team fight power. They just need to be able to execute on it. They are going to be able to knock down a turret. Caitlyn's a fantastic team fighter. We know that Orianna has a lot of power if you can get that right shockwave. The Orianna-Rengar combo is still there. There still are split push advantages for Darshan. We just have to see CLG execute it on it. It feels like they are paralyzed. Starting up the Baron is going to be the answer to the Impact split push.
Okay, Stixxay's pretty big. He's at 2.5 items right here, looking for the pressure on the Baron, doing it rapidly.
There's the TP.
Pulling the TP out. Contractz going to look for the steal. He's not going to get it. Shockwave could stop him. There we go. The spike comes through for Xmithie. Shockwave going to be a complete airball there, but it's the Baron for nothing and a TP force. That Baron call helps CLG get back into the game.
There you go. Good call from CLG. They're willing to make a play. That is what you have to do. You either A, force something, or B, respond. That time they force the Baron. They actually get it pretty much uncontested, which was a little bit surprising to me. And now this may unlock Trundle to get something done. And Darshan is going up towards Ekko. Here comes Smoothie. They are collapsing on the split pusher. This is looking like a good play.
Jensen ulted super early. I think he misclicked on something because now he doesn't have that to get out. Lands the stun, going for the satchel. He's going to get pushed back around. Good play by Xmithie.
Huhi coming up.
And here's the collapse. Jensen does have flash. Can he get over the wall? Rooted, pillar in the way. Can't get out of this one. Pops Zhonya's looking for the stun, but can you do anything about this? No, we can't. Actually, Stixxay getting the kill credit, and CLG suddenly opening up on the map.
Yeah, very good for CLG. They finally turn on. They use Rengar to pick off the split pusher. They force an objective with a man advantage, and now they can look to siege with the Caitlyn. CLG could really open up a big edge here.
We're looking for it right now into the mid lane. 2-2 turret, no chance of stopping. It's a 5v4.
The wave clear is so low for
with
C9.
The Baron buff. Yeah, this could work really well. Graves is trying. Hatchman is going to die, and Melee going to follow as well. And there's no wave for a little bit here, so CLG going to have to stop and recollect themselves. They've sent the Rengar to the top lane to collect the wave.
This is a very difficult siege to defend for C9. With the trap set up, the ball used for zoning, Stixxay can very easily step forward and start hitting this turret. As the next wave comes in, Jensen still won't be back. But Rengar's not with them, so CLG is showing some respect to their opponents, and they're going to back off.
They're going to back away. All right, looking for some of the jungle to steal away. There's a nice blue buff for them, and Counterlogic Gaming come away much better for the trade off that Baron play. And it was 20 minutes of them doing nothing intelligent at all, and then that Baron's... I don't mean to be like overly harsh, but like... They had a minute to watch Jensen push, and no one reacted to it. Like, those are mistakes at this level. That is a mistake that CLG are better than. And then, at 28 minutes, they get a Baron sneak, they get a kill, they get a couple turrets off it. Suddenly, CLG spring back to life, the gold's back to tied, and CLG make up gold-wise for everything that happened for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, they make a good play, and sometimes, you know, all these small mistakes that they did make were outweighed by the couple big good plays that they were able to pull off. So now CLG right back in the driver's seat, pushing up, looking to get something out of this Baron buff. We'll see how much they can take. Darshan shoving up top. They're pushing in mid a little bit with Xmithie, and they have 3 men in the bottom that could be looking to take down some of these outer remaining tier 2s.
We're going to see some more happen right there. Darshan knocking away at this top lane turret. The club is
up,
there.
Though.
Okay, well, it's a 2v1 against Darshan, but can Impact and Karma really kill it? Probably not. Here's Stixxay with all the damage that he needs. Even got a QSS for the stuns. And it's a battering ram of a Caitlyn right now, destroying everything Jensen pushed out.
And this is Stixxay on his Caitlyn. He's gotten to scale to this late game stage where he has his 3 items, he has his defensive item, and he's supported by an Orianna and a Lulu.
Yeah.
So Stixxay certainly has the potential to take over any team fight here. And Darshan finally getting something done in the split push. CLG really executing this Baron power play well.
Absolutely agree. They've gotten a lot out of this one. Suddenly tying up the turret score. The Baron buff timing out shortly. 6 seconds to go, but huge pickup there for them as they're going to keep going to the bot lane turret. Baron buff gone off the minions, and they might be able to stay for the turret. Jensen's coming around the back, so he's got to run. Be careful of stun. Again, he has Quicksilver Sash, so he's not that afraid of Jensen in the 1v1. As you mentioned, he's got 2 supports, 2 shielders on his squad. Redemption here for Aphromoo as well.
That's part of what makes it so tough to actually dive in as Jensen in these team fights. Even if it looks like you can catch out the Caitlyn, the amount of effective HP you gain from 2 heals, double shielding, the exhaust to deny a lot of that burst, it becomes very scary. You must be sure that you're going to kill that Caitlyn off instantly, or you will get destroyed in the team fight.
Speaking of getting destroyed, this turret almost gone as well.
And the top one looks like it is gone.
It is going to go down. Darshan, the split push now starting to work, and pops the ulti to fight off against his opposing laner. 1 level lead for Jensen, getting increasingly smaller thanks to the King's Tribute.
Being able to actually kite out that ultimate is pretty big for Jensen now, and it makes it a lot more dangerous to go into a fight as Darshan. So we may have to be a little bit careful, but it looks like he's actually responding to the mid lane, and Darshan, no one's answering him up on the top side, and it's C9 that are really struggling to hold on in this siege situation.
Nicely done. 2 more turrets picked up. Huhi, the shotgun comes across, but have to devise some time and impact. That's the Cupcake, not going to find much more. It's going to be Xmithie going in for a little bit. Can't quite kill off into the back line. Has to kite back out. Does run low. The jump in on Stixxay. Nice damage out of Sneaky. Contractz trying as well. And will be the disengage overall. No kills picked up, but Darshan starting to get ahead on Jensen. You can see how low the HP is on this Ekko. Look at the chunk come out of him. He's going to ult to heal for 700, and now C9 are here. Darshan ults once again for the heal. And he's going to flash to stay safe as CLG just pushing the rest of the base. This split push is working absolutely for CLG.
Yeah, Jensen wasn't there to actually defend with the turret. He has the wave clear to hold off that Trundle if he is there. Well, the turret is still alive, but he was not, and they get an inhibitor. They get an inhibitor turret. CLG making some great moves here with that Baron, and really, they have taken over from that Baron.
Wow, so great move, CLG. Your fans are proud of you because they came back from a 4-something thousand gold deficit and made it plus 3K. In a very short frame of time. That was all turned around by that Baron sneak into some very, very good sieging around it to get the cash on their gold leads. And yeah, at this point, I don't feel like Stixxay is easily stoppable, right? He's got 80% crit, he's got that rapid fire cannon, he's even got armor pen for any tanks that do show up like Impact, and it's gonna require some pretty good maneuvering by C9 to get through that.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, Stixxay has not really been challenged in this because I think C9 is realizing how tough it's going to be for them to actually win a team fight that they do commit to. It feels like either they need to be able to get something done with their double TP or find a pick off. And right now, CLG is doing a very good job of pressuring heavily without actually opening a window for the hard engage, right? They're pushing just far enough without exposing themselves.
Yeah, very good stuff so far. Haven't gotten flanked, and we'll see if Impact can find that opening later on this Maokai. The question really is, though, do they have enough damage to kill off Stixxay? Because he does the highest DPS of any champion in this game right now. This 4.5 item Caitlyn, as it were. Gonna be hard to deal with, honestly.
Yep. Well, Elder Dragon is live now, and that's going to mean another pressure point for this game. And no one's answering Darshan because they're worried about CLG rushing that Elder Dragon. And that is just going to mean that CLG just gets a free inhibitor knocked down. C9 now sending multiple members top.
Flash
means
list.
that CLG can maybe go for the Elder.
And they're going to look for that right now. If they stay for Darshan, it's going to take him 20 seconds or more with the Guardian Angel. Impact going to look for it. Here's a stun from Jensen, going to land that, so the focus is on for Darshan. And Very unlikely he lives through this encounter, but CLG, of course, going to take the Elder Dragon and keep pushing. They're actually walking back up to the rest of the base. Watch the minimap more than this. As the Dragon is gone, the rest of the team pushing into the base. The Ezreal is actually defending the bottom lane right now. The inhibitor already dead. Orianna is inside the base. As CLG looking to close the game off of Darshan's death. This death is honestly worth it because they are onto the base to look for a bit more. Question is, how much time does CLG really have as the rest of C9 can come back to defend?
I mean, the comical part about that is Impact going to help out in that fight honestly makes it harder to kill him because he's able to gain all the defensive stats from the Maokai.
Yeah, true.
He's actually not helping really by being there, but TP flank coming in. This is C9's chance.
5v4, they've got to make this work. They've been losing the map outright. There's the Monster Shield. They're trying to chase him on down. Impact needs one more route to secure
needs
something.
to get to his team.
Gets on Aphromoo. Jensen's there. The support is dead. Looking for a bit more. No stun going to land. Stixxay still kiting, but could get chunked pretty rapidly. Karma Q going to land for a slow. QSS pop looks for Jensen. Holds back just in time, but in goes Impact. That's one kill picked up right here. It's already 2 for 0. They're looking for a little bit more. Xmithie forced to run under the turret. They still want Huhi. The root is there. This could be a catastrophe for CLG as 3 kills come through. The Guardian Angel popped and Darshan is still dead. There are minutes in the base, but it doesn't really matter at this point as Rengar is going to drop as well. It's 5 straight kills for Cloud9 with a Baron on the map.
I mean, that wasn't even a 5v4. That was a 5v3 because Huhi was off by himself. He wasn't with the team at all. That should have been an easy disengage. Now it's going to be Cloud9 going for the Baron, but there are super minions in the base. Darshan's back up. He has TP. Will he actually go into the base and try to get the triple inhib? I think that might be the call for CLG, but he's not making it just yet.
Well, there were wards or at least minions placed down. There is a
there's
TP
minions in the
target
base.
for
He could have gone. Can't do it now.
Cloud9 getting a huge fan, but right there, of course, that's not the bigger fan base, but all C9 have done right now is tie the game up in gold. We'll see if they can use that Baron. The double inhibs down, of course, it's going to be hard to use the map.
Yeah, but at least it allows them to delay the game, right?
Yeah.
If this is a Baron buff in CLG's hands, it seems like it's surely a sealed game. But they definitely made some errors there. Huhi not being with the rest of the team, trying to kind of go in solo and take down some turrets, meant that the rest of the squad got caught out 5v3 and chased down.
Absolutely. So close game right here, and I think Counterlogic Gaming, with no objective to play for, it's a difficult choice because you're against a Baron buff, and that's rough, but you're also allowing the other team to farm double inhibitors with no map play to make otherwise. So CLG will lead golden XP.
I think you have to utilize that pressure. There's no global objective, so you must shove heavily up the side waves and then pressure the mid lane inhibitor, be able to utilize that to get the super minions in and hopefully dealing damage to the Nexus turrets. That is what you use as the pressure point because, to your point, you can't just sit back, otherwise you're just feeding the other team gold.
Yeah. Gold right now 300 apart. It'll actually get better for C9 as the minions go down. Bot lane going to be in equilibrium as the super minion wave is dead and the inhibitor's back. Top lane still has some of that, and its Impact catching up in farm. Still only down about 19.
Impact has stayed super relevant despite a very tough matchup and a rough early game. He's never really fallen behind, and I think that's a lot harder to do than it looks. We see so many games where at this point, the Maokai is down like 80 CS, 100 CS, things like this after a start like that, and it can't be underestimated. Impact's ability to find farm and to always be in the right place at the right time.
Sure. Water Reminder now done for Stixxay, which is a great choice because it's good against both the Maokai and the Ekko, and even the redemption targets here. So props to Stixxay for some intelligent itemization here.
Yeah, there's so much, even on the Graves and the Ezreal, right? They both have lifesteal. So I think that using it on those characters, it's a lot of added benefits. I think that the Mortal Reminder is extremely powerful, even on the tanks. It's obviously powerful, but on the other guys too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good against... Everyone has some mechanic you care about with that, so good choice here. And Jensen is on the split push, and looks like it's C9 who are allowed to play aggressively. The Baron buff is keeping CLG from doing too terribly much right now.
Someone does need to go over and get ready to answer Jensen, though. Yes, Darshan is pushing up and can threaten an inhibitor, but if his team gets jumped on, the game could just end. This is an open inhibitor with Baron buff on. If C9 win a team fight here, the game ends. And Darshan is just continuing to split push, so CLG needs to play this very well. If they get caught out and hard engaged on, it could go badly, but at the same time, if they fail that engage, Darshan will take their base.
It looks like CLG actually made the right call here. They were willing to base race, and Cloud9 said, you know what, we don't feel like we can defend this 5v4. We've only got one Nexus turret. They've actually called a lot of the team back.
Yeah, it's a tough call to make, right? Because you must be sure that you are going to win or it ends the game if you fail. So Darshan now pretty out there by himself, but Yeah, C9 not making the collapse. They don't have the vision on him.
Right, he had peeled back when C9 went in Fog of War. He's okay, they might flank, they might recall. I'll chill for a bit. Then says, okay, they're back on the map. I guess I'll reset and buy some items and go towards this Randuin's or Dead Man's Plate. C9 feeling pretty good. Inhibitors all back up, so the map is reset. The Baron buff, you can see, ends in 10 seconds right here. So we're going to be back to this tied game. Cloud9 up 500 gold. The Drakes roughly equal.
It's really starting to feel like one of those games that comes down to a single team fight.
Yeah.
Where it's so late in, gold leads not there at all. You know, it's all about the fact that inhibitors are open. The Nexus can be cracked so easily for both teams if you get that proper team fight. If you win a fight on your opponent's side of the map, you end the game.
So it's going to come down to only one turret stands between CLG and Victory and Cloud9. Only one team fight stands between them because of how far pushed up they are.
And no one is here yet for Jensen. We see Darshan coming down now, but even one hit on this inhibitor turret, like, look at that, it's half the health.
Now Jensen's got to kite back, slowed a little bit, not going to find the stun, and Darshan is here for the trade. Not going to ult for the damage just yet, but Jensen's going to kite away from this.
And Jensen very intelligently, he procs his third hit passive, which gives him the speed boost, then he runs out.
Yeah.
If you try to just straight up run, you can get chased down pretty easily by Darshan. Once you proc that third hit, zoom away, no problem.
Darshan tanky enough, and of course Ravenous Hydra is sustained, and it's Jensen. Doesn't have ways of healing himself easily when he's chunked on a half like that. He might just have to recall Ocean Drake. There's only one, and it doesn't reset the damage that quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, Jensen can hold Darshan, you know, he like add a turret or something, but none of those are really on the map anymore, and I don't know that he can win a straight up actual fight to the death.
It seems like you can't.
Yeah.
It really seems like you cannot, so...
Only
in the
way I see it
1v1
happening is ultimate down for Trundle, and then you can maybe burst him in a stun. But even then, I don't know that's going to happen with the amount of MR he actually has built.
I agree.
And he's focusing actually more on MR than something like a Randuin's or anything like that. You know?
Yeah, he's got a good mix of stats. Darshan's overall score line, 190 magic resist, 148 armor, sorry, 248 armor, and 3,500 HP. And that's before the ult. So he is scary. He is hard to deal with. Obviously is max level right now, and it really comes down to the maneuvering. It comes down to who can win that fight, who can get into it. Engage tools are a bit weak for CLG. They can try with a Rengar Shockwave, though it hasn't landed yet. Cloud9 have the arguably more secured Maokai TP flanks.
It is kind of funny watching CLG. It just feels like they play to the level of their opponents so often.
Yeah.
Whether it's someone who, you know, should be just straight up a better team than them, like Cloud9, or someone who should be a much worse team than them, like when you look in the standings. It feels like they always seem to play to their opponent's level and end up very oftentimes in these really close, tight games.
Yeah, it's why when they were in the group with G2, they lost all their games. Just they played to the level of their opponents. A little bit of EU flame just for fun.
Casual flame. I was like, oh, he's gonna say how they beat Rocks. Wow, what a nice little compliment there.
No.
Out of left field. EU sucks.
Not always true though. We're gonna move on with this game, of course, right here. We've had a lull. I had to throw a dig in here real quick. Here we go. Xmithie over the wall, looks for impact. Darshan wants in as well. Sneaky putting in some damage right there. Pretty good punishment on the Darshan, actually.
Looking for the stun over the wall on Stixxay.
Not going to find that, but he just gets Darshan. Look at the HP bar melts off. Shockwave can't just do squishies. Almost getting the quad, and the Guardian Angel not going to get popped just yet. Good damage, good redemption heal. But the over the wall jumps. GA pop impact though. 2 hits from dead. They're going to chase on CLG's side. It will be a trade of frontliners. For him. Yeah, Maokai dead, but so is Rengar. But CLG on the chase, and they can't stop Stixxay anymore. He looks almost impervious to damage. This could be the game-winning push for CLG, it feels like.
Yeah, I think this 4v4 heavily advantages CLG. Impact is much more important in this team comp than the Rengar is for CLG. So they can just push up and take this 4v4 very happily. Going to be really tough for C9 to actually contest. Jensen needs to find a flank and get an assassination on one of these damage dealers.
Okay, it's the Jugger Caitlyn hoping to carry the team fight. Damage on a Contractz, and Graves, yet her gun's bigger than yours. Out he goes. Darshan slows down Jensen, who does not have ulti for a few seconds, I think.
Yeah, and Darshan is just zoning Jensen out. He knows that he is the main threat. The rest of them can't get in. Well played by Darshan. That zoning allows CLG to take the inhib.
And it's a Baron call. 15 seconds until Impact respawns, but he does have teleport. And CLG are missing their smite. The Baron call is a risk. And I wonder if they can actually pull it off, or it's just going to be a bait. Looks like the recall for Darshan.
Could just be a play for vision. You know, establish some vision, make it so they can't actually rush this down, and then recall, get back out there. But Stixxay is staying on the map and will need to be careful. And he's such a critical member on this point in the game.
He's got to respect some of the damage here. Contractz smoke screens him.
Double shield.
Yep.
And Caitlyn outranges Graves so heavily at this point in the game, it becomes very difficult for Graves to fight into a Caitlyn team comp. because even just on the approach, you can get taken down. But here comes Darshan. He is fast.
Contractz hits the shield. He's got to be careful of the pillar. There goes right in front of him. Guardian Angel and the frontliners. And they're going to find a bit of a route on Darshan. True shot barrage, and it's going to be a whiff on the shockwave, actually. That might stymie.
A lot of those this game. Huhi has not been able to get involved too many.
He's low on mana, but he has the blue buff to regen. Darshan ults for some regen as well. And here's the rush down on Baron Nashor. Jensen can look for the steal, not going to get it. Great smite by Xmithie. Jensen gets the stun. Ults back over the wall. Worth the attempt. Definitely worth the attempt for Jensen. Ults back away.
Elder is out on the map, and Darshan's actually TPing back out there. He wants to get in position, but
who he recalled, so this is, I guess, him slowing down the Drake take.
Yeah, I think this makes quite a bit of sense, actually. Buy time for your mid laner. You have mid lane pushing with the supers. You can control the Elder area and look to establish an advantage.
Hits CLG with control, and again, Stixxay seems not to be able to be stopped. Maybe there's a flank play. Jensen can run the backside, but now the push is on towards Impact. Still no Guardian Angel, and decent damage comes out from the Caitlyn. Into the mid lane they go. Damage is gone, and once again, they look at this Elder Dragon. They look back at mid lane.
The bot lane and top lane pushing heavily for C9. CLG will have to make a move or go to answer those waves.
Pillar slows down a little bit. They're trying for the play on a mid lane. Then they got the inside track on the base itself. Jensen's pushing for the bot lane right now.
CLG could just try to run down mid, though, with the Baron buff and look to end the game. C9 now put in a tough position here. Rengar ulti is coming in. Jensen is going for the base race. This is going to be huge. Smoothie wants to stop the back.
Yeah, and he's going to stop them. So CLG can just walk into the base right now. Stixxay is going for the turrets. I don't think they can stop them at all. CLG off the back of Stixxay. Jensen is not even the right side of the map. It's over. It's CLG with the comeback win on game one. No one's even on the map. The out-rotation win comes through. Game one, CLG.
In what was a topsy-turvy game, a CLG make the eventual move and out-rotate C9, taking down the Nexus.
This was such a strange game. It ends with a 100 gold lead for Counterlogic Gaming. Stixxay 2-1-0. Like, these are the score lines. The players 15 kills in a 48-minute game, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Huhi 0-1-2, right? They're involved in almost no kills were a lot of these guys, but it was so much about the map movements. And earlier in the game, it was about CLG's failure on the map movements. It was about the fact that they were bleeding objectives and not having the correct lane assignments. But then, C9 likewise seemed to struggle with where to place their players, how to match up well, and really that Baron that was given over to CLG was the catalyst that let them take this game. Yeah, they were able to equalize all the gold. And at a certain point, it was like, well, if you can't catch Stixxay, we're just going to use him to win the game. And that last maneuvering at the very end there, the last 1 minute was just very strange, where C9 just felt like they were lost. They weren't aware of what the objectives were. It's like, well, it's mid lane to win the game, and the Elder Dragon, which maybe wins CLG the game. And then they ran top side. They ran to the top side of mid and went, they can go mid. And then Jensen just doesn't recall to defend the base, and just C9 gives away the opening. He had TP as well.
Right.
He could never TP back to the base too. But it just felt like both these teams really struggled to make the correct decisions in the macro movements, the map play. Eventually, CLG comes out on top, and I think largely because they had a very tough comp to fight into, and they were very successful around the Baron. They were very successful around Baron, so props to CLG for that game win. Nicely done by them, and now to help us break that comeback win down.